get it done here and now, or these teams are going to start running away with it. Let's get into our last Aaron Gill match of the day and take it on over to Blink and John Allen.
We've got another Erangel coming on in. Of course we do. We've got a third and final one for the day as we kick into the double-digit matches here. Time is starting to draw to a close. Our top 3 spots definitely important, but our bottom teams as well are going to start to worry. Here is where teams will start to get left in the dust, as we see one of our very few Erangels that do remain, and the last one today.
Time from Primorsk over towards Pmgc side of things. Not too bad at all. Again, I think we've had pretty kind playing paths all today here on Erangel. I don't think a single one has really caused too much problems. Still waiting for another Sosnovka circle. We haven't seen one of those in quite some time. APG looking to get down towards Sosnovka itself on Millibase. Falcons in Pachinki. I want to see a little bit more of a quick rotate from this team. Feels very tentative at the moment of where they want to go next. I'd like to see that slightly changed towards the future. Wolves again, fairly consistent performances elimination wise, but still struggling to get towards that end game.
Yeah, it's been a little bit disappointing from them. A couple of times they've been in those scenarios where it could have gone better for them, but it just hasn't quite been over that line, and they have suffered on the points for it. It's likely that they'll get to last chance because of their performance, but even in that situation, is it going to be enough? And you have to wonder. Circle pops, I mean, not dramatically out to the west side, but more west than east, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, it's a pretty kind circle. I mean, it doesn't really cut any massive areas out. There's no real unplayable area. I think the only thing here to look at really is where it drops down towards Sosnovka, but even then, it's not a massive deal. Most teams know that it's not going towards Sosnovka with this split on the circle. Is 9ZG definitely having a massive downturn in performance from day 1 into day 2. Only 5 eliminations and 4 placement points today. Pretty rough. Dropped down to 8th place now, so the majority of their points were coming through from yesterday. There's some good rotates. There were mostly wide wraps though, which, while are fantastic to see, you know, they're few and far between of when they work and why they work. Here, there really hasn't been too much chance for them to pull that off. So for 9ZG, definitely worrying going into tomorrow if they continue on this pace. Papra Supermassive, on the other hand, it has just been a big uptick in the amount they've been able to do. I think that firepower that we were missing from them yesterday definitely is here now, which is great to see, because it was the one thing that I was kind of confused about. Like, they were certainly one of the most strong teams when it came to those gunfights in EU, and then to suddenly see them looking like pretty poor in those fights was weird. But I think that they're warmed up now. They've had those test games and have fixed things going into day 2. So those secrets that were held back from us now are coming into play.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you hope that teams will start to bring more and more to the table, especially if you're low down on these tables right now. Alter Ego, they've had their moments. Their splits sometimes a little bit too much. Their peaks a little bit too long, but they are still in second place on 86 points. That's going well for them. They are keeping up pace with the best of them. We'll see how much further they can go. Goat down in Primorsk have been very impressive in those 4v4s, and they've earned themselves that 3rd place because of it. Their final moments in those games, generally not as powerful as we see some other teams, because they've already got stuck into so many fights earlier on and earned all the points that way. Seems to be their way. We'll see if they are able to get a chicken dinner at some point to keep things adding to their tally, because they've already found one.
Yeah, it's been very impressive, honestly, in terms of the firepower coming through from that squad. I just want to see more of it towards this end games, close things out, like you say, one chicken dinner, but I think there's potential for more there. Alpha Gaming, I think ending the day around 120 would be an ideal margin to hit for this team. They've been able to get some points here and there throughout the day. There's been slim pickings, but You know, every single game, I don't think they've had a 0-point game yet. Wolves gets a little bit too close to comfort for Narvalo as they take their 2-man split. Luckily, they find the straggler from Wolves, which is actually a really big deal for them here, where they get this 2-2 split and then send Wolves packing. It now means they can play this one out a little bit slower without worrying about being crashed on.
The fact that they're holding this 2-2 split as well, I mean, they immediately sent Redox in for the regroup onto the position. I mean, I like that response. They knew danger was coming. They got there faster than Wolves could. You saw Igor on the outside, couldn't quite get in. And of course, no real reason to at that point, after you know that Coops has gone down and been flushed almost immediately. You don't want to overcommit there. But the fact that the Falcons are holding far east out on the west points of Pmgc may be something they do need to think about. We saw them struggle to regroup in time in the last match. They just really got overrun, had a real rough time of it. We'll see if they spend too long split from one another in this match as well, or if they are going to send for a regroup, call for the backup out to the west. I think it will rely on when the circle pops.
Honestly, I think zone 2 on this kind of circle, you would want to regroup as a full 4-man. I think that it's very specific to the stage of PUBG Mobile you're playing. I think a PMSL EU, this kind of 2-2 split works until zone 3, but there are teams here who will take every chance, every little bit of every inch that they can gather inside of this tournament whenever they want. And I think that when you're playing as a 2-man inside that building, teams are going to identify that pretty quickly and see themselves that they have an opportunity to get a strong position in the circle and take it from you. So I do think that's why you need to start regrouping on zone 2 here as opposed to zone 3. I think in PMSL EU, this is typically something that would be allowed to work for much, much longer, as teams wouldn't typically go for that push. But I think that's the mindset that Falcons need to get themselves into. They're not playing in PMSL EU anymore.
No, they don't have the same sort of license that was once afforded to them. I mean, they always do have that sort of last minute, oh, we didn't play well in the first phases. Oh, it's the later stages. Let's go for the clutch factor kind of play style. And maybe that will come through in, if not here in Last Chance, but I mean, it's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts there. And lots predicated on them having the skills to do it. Right now, they're not on display. OG looking to put something on display against Loops. 2 players here for Loops. The other 2 are a little bit far away and actually closer to the center of the circle. But I imagine that they're immediately being recalled. Yeah, and you can see over the hills, they start to roll up and into this fight. They want to get that off angle. They're not overzealous in crashing straight into the compound for the backup. They know the value of these off angles, and Aru immediately is taken down by it. A really nice flex out for Loops to play on those off angles. And we'll see what more they can do. Now he's going to go for that regroup in as Team Secret start to find their way to the hills above it.
We go for the reds here for OG. Nade out the backside will get a little bit of damage done. Ratto Boy definitely avoids that one too. Molotov's on the doorway, cuts off any hope of getting that player out. And now AKOP on the backside has to deal with Team Secret all on its lonesome. That's OG going down now to 2 players.
I mean, that's a pretty solid crash from Team Secret, I think. Reading that fight nicely, finding the backlines of OG. Be able to roll on into that fight. The circle goes up north, and again, it seems like the zones are magnetized towards Everest. We're keeping that one in as well, and the regroup for Falcons can now go out to the east side on that engagement. In the meantime, though, OG still have 2 horses in the race. Wizgod, though, maybe stumbling over the hurdle there, and only 1 player now stands. It's the Tanky with the DBS on the window. Looks for the shutdown onto 1, but even that is denied. A nade is an answer. It came on through. I think that might have been a team nade. Indeed it was. But Lutz will get that res nice and handily.
I think that's fair enough. You know, if he's playing inside that back room, then the nade takes him out. If the nade doesn't take him out, the Rafina's going to get it done. So it was not cooked for a long time on that nade. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but either way, you do have a situation where no matter what happens, should be going down to that push there. For OG, I mean, they tried to take a push. I think as soon as you hear the vehicles on the outside, you all need to get inside the building. And then start looking to push the 2 players in the front line. Because if you start hearing vehicles wrapping around you on the outside, then you're fairly sure that it's only 1 or 2 players in the front buildings, so you have to push that. Like, that's where you have to crank it, and you can't falter, because that's exactly what happened for them, is that they were too hesitant in that engagement.
A little bit too reluctant to make the tough decisions. Alter Ego, they're getting torn apart on their approach. It's not looking pretty. Only likely to be able to res one of their players here. You can see Alva picking Rosemary back up. Krypton. Okay, no, he was still alive there. Okay, or just basically no HP. I thought he disappeared, but no, he is still alive. So playing on us 3, it's a little bit better than I first thought for Alter Ego on their approach to this compound, but it feels a bit like they might be slightly trapped in here, Blank.
Yeah, you got to make the cross. I mean, you could swing back up towards Rozhok and round, but then even so, where do you go? Do you play Watertown? It's an option for you. Do you head to Headshot Hills? That's a decision you make zone 3, zone 4, realistically. But for Falcons, it's not a bad start to the game. I'm glad they regrouped on zone 2 here. Though, to be honest, I'd still wonder if this circle cut in both their compounds, if they'd still be in the 2-2 now.
Yeah, it's always tough to play the what-if game. A 2-2. Maybe it would have been different. Looking at the lay of the circle, it's about to pop. The Falcons did regroup. Gen G now lining the Gatka fields as well. The Wolves sent all the way out to the east side, but it's going more towards the ruins, up towards that north edge. You could see immediately in a circle looking to regroup, bringing back their tendrils off their 2-1-1, and they'll be hopefully able to do that successfully. And on the north side still, Team Secret have a lot of ruins under control.
Can they hold it, though? Can they hold it, though?
No.
So the answer is probably no. Yeah, I mean, 80% of the time. Shot over towards Regiocio. As Wolves continue to pepper shots in. He's going to lose his vehicle for this as well. And the rest of Reject very much penned in here. A lot of instances where Reject really hasn't had any kind of clap back towards these situations whatsoever. I think this is a pretty horrendous spot on the map as well. There's no vehicle formation set up on the hardcover either. So I'm a little bit concerned about this. I think for Reject, it's likely over the next 2 circles they'll be going down here. Similarly for Wolves, though, they also don't have the most ideal of position. They're just playing on the outside of Pmgc with an outpost on that northern edge with Igor.
Wolves trying to make that regroup. Igor taken very, very low in the backseat of the buggy, but Doran diving around. He gets taken out from the front seat, and Igor's immediately into the driver's seat. Doran will be flushed away. How far can Igor get away from it? Oh, that's not friendly. That is tough stuff.
Yeah, you do not expect the driver to get popped out if you're on the back. I mean, they're set up for the second elim. Definitely that's one of those cases where the shots go awry, but in a good way. Getting Doran out the front seat. Shots Wolves down to 2. Alter Ego, yeah, they took a bit of a tumble earlier on. Krypton made a wide wrap on the north side, trying to look for a position to play, but Watertown already picked up by Papra Supermassive. Nice pick up there from Rosemary over towards Nolboon. Instant crash coming in through from the rest of the team.
I mean, that's kind of necessary to keep Rosemary safe up on that high ground, right? Draw the attention from the teams on the low, from the players on the low ground for D+, because they've still got 2 players up top, but it's not going to matter because Fabian is there and Rosemary very likely getting flushed. No way that Alter Ego can position to actually get back into this one. Rosemary will try and waste as much time as possible, but it's pretty quick on the knock, and Krypton's the next to fall. D+, keep things under control. Nolbu has been drawn down, but there's a second knock actually as well, and Alpha gets the flush. D+, I thought they were going to be able to keep this under control, limit the casualties, but losing a player on the east side could be disastrous for them moving forwards into the next one. Alva dodges the nade, and he is in a little bit of a 1v1 until the res can come through. With the high ground now occupied by Tiamba, this fight got a whole lot more mucky.
Yeah, Tiamba definitely looking to close this one out. They have full broadside on this engagement. I think for D+, they've realized that for them, The biggest deal right now is just to try and get out of this fight. Chips consistently taking damage, and a shot from Tiamba will take him down. Alva's living, and he is getting more points for his troubles.
Hops in, looks for another shot, spots the player out the window, goes straight for it, knows the blue zone's doing more work than he is, and will try and get another Elim on the tally, but Alter Ego finish, their Erangel stretch, they're on 88 points now. Tiamba looking to pick up the pieces. As the nades start to fly, it's just Fabian remains for D+. I think they know sort of where he is, but Papa Supermassive also joining in on the scrap, trying to pinch some of those points away too.
Yeah, Fabian left now on his lonesome. I think D+ have been overall playing way better, honestly. That fight, again, you're going up against the second place team. They are good at what they do, and the fact that D+ puts up a good fight versus them is a pretty good marker for them as a team. Yes, it was a 3v4. Tron actually finding shots towards Tiamba. There is a lot of third parties going on here, and Tiamba is getting cut apart right now.
Yeah, Papa Supermassive had the full surround, but Wolves are now joining on it. A traded 1-for-1 Fabian down low in the blue, but he might have done enough to stop Tiamba from getting any of these reses. The bandage, is it in time? Just about. No! Tiamba not able to stay alive. The work is done, and everybody in the compound goes down. Now the surrounding teams have to scrap it out. It's Papa Supermassive looking to pick each other back up here. Stage 4, I mean, you're going to have to make a mad dash for the zone. I don't think Kamikaze has the time to get the bandage off there. Yeah, it's not going to happen. They have to pick him up, go for the vehicle, but Baton has the angle, has the spot. They want to keep Kamikaze in the mix. Yeah, Lost is going to get pulled out as well. They wasted too much time trying to get that res when they knew it was impossible.
I think with Papa Supermassive, the biggest issue for them here is that they engaged way too much on this fight. They heard how scrappy it was. There's also not a lot of positions for the Eastern teams to take. And I mean, we saw that earlier as Krypton tried to wide wrap on the north side, couldn't find anything, realized they have to take the fight with D+. I think Papa Supermassive could have played this game out a lot slower over towards the west. I think they already did enough by getting a fair few knocks over towards Tiamba. At that point, they should have left. And because of that, now they're being shut down. So I do think for Papa Supermassive, it's a bit greedy. It's definitely a bit greedy on that Eastern side.
Yeah, they've only got the 2 points to show for the match. In the meantime, though, the Wolves are eliminated. So one of the teams on the east side going to be taken out. And actually nobody really getting out of that zone entirely unscathed. You had Reject coming in earlier. Only 2 players there remain. Papra Supermassive, only 1. Wolves didn't make it. Tiamba didn't make it. D+, neither were able to find their way on through. It was a really fraught situation out there and a tough time for all. Now moving our attention to the rest of these zones. Looks like 9Z are competing with Team Secret for this lining of ruins on the south edge, but the zone really kind of nasty. A lot of open ground, not too many spots to play.
Did that buggy just delete the US that was underneath it?
Maybe.
I think it
maybe
just crushed it through the ground.
Well, you know,
I think
maybe it was never
that bad boy's unusable anymore.
Oh well, hard south shift actually keeps Gen G's compound in on that south edge, so they'll be feeling happy about that. On the 4 players that they've got alive, the nades going back and forth. Finally, one connects from Team Secret over towards 9Z. And they are looking for more as well. A bombardment continues from Team Secret, expending a lot of utility here.
I mean, fair enough as well. It's a very nadeable position. Don't really want to expend your life for these elims when nades will do. Fortunately for them, they get 2 players very low.
That looks good. Oh.
Well, there you go.
I thought that was going to get 2 there. Looked like it was right on his head. There's another nade, and that will be good as well. And finally, there is a re-knock in response, but that should be rezzed up. In the meantime, Tron B did go down, so Papyrus Supermassive are eliminated. 9Z still have the run out against Team Secret, but they're being penned in by Loops, who are flexed up here, Blank. So have Inner Circle. They have got a lot of pressure sent into this fight, and maybe these are the only elims you find. Loops want to slam into the back here, as Team Secret struggling to make their way through.
Yeah, it's a fight that... I don't know where Dockel's going, honestly. These are the most crazy sprays, right? Not even very much on target, but getting the job done here as Loops puts up more points. Team Secret just wants to get a couple to finish this one off. I mean, they can't even do that. I mean, Team Secret's been underwhelming this tournament.
Yeah, at best, it's really not been great for them. They do manage to pick up a point there. The flush did come through posthumously, and now two players are stepping out. Loops moving in, continue to picking up these elims. 6 found so far. The heal needed to come through. Does manage to top himself up. Loops are going to fall back. Happy with the 6 that they found. They do need to start to think about breaking south and how they're going to be able to navigate this terrain.
This is definitely a circle. I think Max is just highlighting it now where hovercrafts would be very, very important. It's horrid. It really is horrid. And having a hovercraft to just set up as maneuverable cover, and quite a large bit of cover as well, towards the center of the map here, you could set up a veritable compound. Unfortunately, I haven't really seen one. I haven't really seen any hovercrafts in the circle so far. 9ZG does get taken down by Loops, who have been extremely opportunistic this game and succeeding off the back of it.
I mean, rightly so. You do need to be. The Falcons trying to break west as well. They have got 3 elims already. A little mound to be playing around with, but you can see they want to go further. They're trying to figure out these smokes with APG, or the remnants thereof, rather. Out to their west, they do need to worry. GS in a death fall on a vehicle. I hate that many players being in a vehicle, and this might be why they are getting lit up a lot. Heavy, heavy, heavy damage coming through from Inner Circle. And I imagine from across the way, 2 of them are going to fall down. Despite the fact that they had a pure numbers advantage, there is just an off angle coming through from Loops, I believe, from Inner Circle as well, just taking chunks out of them as they go. A lot of damage done, but they do keep 3 alive for GS.
Why are we taking that fight as the circle's coming in? I mean, they could play a lot further down towards the south side and just hold them out regularly. It felt a little bit dangerous to go for that. Again, GS do come out on top with 3 players though, but by that time, you already have squads taking shots. Loops look to make their way up there, but it's the Falcons who are profiting the most off the back of this one. And this is a full field finish. It's disgusting. It's horrible. No one enjoys this.
Yeah, it's a really bad time for everyone. The GOAT split, though, I kind of like it. I feel like they're probably in the best spot. They've got control over both flanks of this one. As Falcons starting to add to their elim tally. They're up to 6 now. They're burning through more, and they're up to 8. Almost joining Loops up on 9. A really swift consumption of points there for the Falcons. Playing as 4, they're all the way out in the east. But I do think that it's going to be such a difficult task to get past GOAT on the hold. Not holding in the circle, but holding so many other sightlines that contribute towards it.
Yeah, well, I mean, both their spots are in the next zone, so they will have to move off that. I think no matter what happens going forward, you are going to be in a disgusting spot on the map. Right? This really does come down to how well you can set up your vehicles, how well you can set up the smokes. Rafina likely to go down here. Koa drops out the vehicle, but it's now valid to put the final nail in the coffin. I think that Falcons have a very good chance on this game.
I mean, they certainly added the points to it. They're having a good game either way. But GOAT have now started to extend out into the field. They've moved up into the open. They're playing these hay bales. Gen.G yet to transition away. They're following in the Falcons' footsteps, and actually a big pickup over onto Koa out in the open for Falcons. That is a pretty hefty limb lost. And they're starting to maybe have some danger stepping out and into these fields. Gen.G being held out as well. Falcons maintain that east position.
Koa going down is bad news, actually, for them. It's going to be hard to pick him up as well, but he was their front position there. Gen.G once again with these nice rotates towards the end game. It's a pretty low elim count game, but from where they were playing, I don't think they had too much chance to get too many eliminations on this one, so they have just sort of staccato stepped their way in. Killer Joe moves up, will pick up the elim with the shotgun, and being able to place himself here is a big deal. I think having Koa there was the one thing that would have allowed them to actually punish over towards GOAT. Sadly not to be. And this lineup is actually now very, very good from GOAT. It was getting here that was the issue, but they have succeeded.
I think it was all based on that pick onto Koa as well. Being able to find the Falcons. If the Falcons had continued on their pressure as a full 4 on that north side, I feel like they may have had a better chance of holding GOAT back, but Goat have moved at the right time repeatedly at the end stages of this game. The Falcons on the East point, though, can stay where they are. It's Gen.G who have to move the entirety of their team. Goat can regroup, Falcons can regroup, but it's all onto Gen.G.
Gen.G getting out from the spot's difficult. It's very open ground for them. We'll see how they want to pull it off. Kraken right now is the big picture. AWM in Vic's hands. Been a while since we've seen this bad boy on board. The Abacam also popping off in the hands of Goat.
Swapping to the different scope. You can see Gen.G now starting to get found. But it's Redox to get the first. Claws is down. I don't know if that's going to be resable. I think they still have time if they pop it immediately. So they should be able to get that one back up. Killer Joe under pressure from nades. That's not going to go the distance. But Go out on the field, actually spotted by Dammy, who hits the deck in time. And now Falcons trying to take shots out their way. Maybe more preoccupied, but yeah, I don't think he's going to last too much longer here. As Gen.G continue to stumble their way towards this zone, into the vehicle, a last mad dash for it. Maybe looking to cover Dammy off and get the revive there. No, I don't think that's going to be possible. Claws just has to try and settle for any sort of cover. Nades is starting to pour in from Ralph as well. The healing does come through, but Narvalo is down in the meantime. Ralph in danger as well. They know his tree. That nade should be on target. Will it connect? Of course it will. Killer Joe nails the shot, and now don't even need to go for a 4 versus 4. There's no four-man teams left.
Yeah, I think that, honestly, Ralph had a pretty clear and easy shot of the nade onto where he was playing. And that's all of them gone. That's all of them gone.
How did Gen.G have 3 players alive? I guess one of them was down and it is just ticking away, right? Oh no, he's getting the heal. How do they have 3 players here playing? That is absolutely insane given where they were sat before.
Yeah, I mean, this game has just been pretty much consistently moving away from teams who had good spots over into open ground. Even from Zone 3, I think there's so many unplayable spaces. It ruined Alter Ego's day, Team Secret, Tiamba, Papa Supermassive. Basically, the circle has been the executor of the lobby. Gen.G gets very lucky on this shift, by the way. Very lucky.
Get the advantage, but there's the AWM starting to pop off. It's an immediate double knockdown, and Gen.G, sure they might get lucky on the shift, but Goat are still in the fight. And now it's just Quick who remains. He is in the next zone, but he can't do much to stop Goat from moving forwards altogether. And Killer Joe making a beeline for it, immediately charging on in. Has got another tree to play around, launches it forwards, isolating which tree he's playing on. Position now given away fully. And it will be the open ground to conquer it. It is Goat to take it all. Falcons couldn't find their way in from the north side. Gen.G looked like they were maybe onto something there with the shift, but the double spray down works wonders. And Goat finally closed down another game, convincingly holding a late game scenario, which is exactly what we wanted to see from them.
Yes, but there is a yes, but here, okay?
All
because
right.
the circle was horrendous for basically everyone. I think Goat is fortunate enough to get to that point in the game. I think that doesn't happen if Goat isn't as strong as they are in terms of their firepower, being able to get to that point. Regardless, it's a weird match. It's a weird match. It is nice to see Goat close a game down, though, and that will see them high up the tables for sure. And Alter Ego now has another team breathing down their neck. As is APG. You've been disappointed to see APG go out. There is now a possibility of that happening.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's definitely not what they were thinking about at the start of the day, but as time goes on, teams will catch up. As we said, right? They need to keep pace, even if it's minimal. Wasn't done that game. Go. Stretch out instead.
Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up, turn it way up, turn it way up.
Crank that volume, turn it way up, way up.
And it's Goat that get the chicken dinner in the field finish. That is where Goats thrive, Max, man. And they got it done right here. By the way, AWM seen, notice, not a knock. Oh, I wanted it so bad. Just one bolt action knock. This Pmgc, please, Max, please.
We got tickled. We're like, you want an orm headshot? No, you're not gonna have it.
Once I saw the 3x, I was like on the AWM, I was like, oh, it's not gonna happen, dude.
Oh yeah, because no, of course in the fields there's going to be 8 time scopes just growing in the fields, you know, alongside the woods.
Yes, there should be.
It's all over the place.
There should be, okay?
No, he just got lucky, found one in a crate. I thought maybe he just got unlucky and he didn't have a proper scope in that crate, which is very unlucky when you do have an orb spawn in one of those. But unfortunately, it didn't quite work out. But you know what did work out, Niptura? They still got that win. And they were, before this game, in top 3, right? Just behind Alter Ego. I think we might have a new second place team here after this chicken dinner.
Yeah, I love what they did here, because if you go back and you watch this game again, just focus on Goat, because they were able to just kind of control the narrative from like zone 2. If you look at their splits, which I know we're going to get to in a little bit here, but you know, able to just control a little bit there, back it up with some really nice eliminations as well. It was really, really nice to see. And again, just very confident, very quiet, very methodical. I loved that from them.
Excellent execution right here, right when they needed it. And this is the problem, right, when it comes to this lobby, just because of how leveled up it is, right? We're gonna start seeing a big point gap. Yeah, this push right here, this was pretty wild here. Luke's getting it done, Rosemary as well. I mean, just overall great fighting here in this match, man.
Yeah, really good engagements. I was really happy with Team Secret. That fight on Loops and Orangutan happening very early on. They're like, well, 3 eliminations, question marks, and they just send it in and get some very easy early eliminations. So very happy with how opportunistic Team Secret have been. They showed that kind of similar playstyle back in Pmgc earlier this year in Riyadh. Doing it once again here. And they're trying to exit the bottom 5. It's a little bit late to do that, of course, but you know what? Still, I am a believer in Team Secret and what they can try and bring to the table. We see these circles, Niptro. As you go deep into this game, a lot of fights happening on the eastern side, and it keeps going towards those fields, low ground. It was just forcing everyone in these fights that they just did not want to take, but unfortunately, they just didn't really have a choice.
Yeah, and it's really where that comes down to the micro, right? We've talked so much about the macro and how these teams work very, very well in their rotations, but the micro is where they end up getting a little bit upset, and this game really showcased that, because so much of that had to happen. They were having to just go up against each other, third party, just again and again and again, and really, it's a wonder that any of them were able to come out with still 4 players alive. But as we look over at the rotations, I want everybody to focus on 2 teams in particular. That's going to be Goat and it's going to be Falcons. Okay, in the early game, they're kind of just doing their thing. They're chilling. They're doing some stuff. There you see Falcons have a big old 1-3 split going on here. But what we want to be really looking at is as we get closer to that end game, you see Falcons regroup. They're going to be over on the south side. Goat, a big 3-1 split that again they held until from zone 2 onwards. They go over to Ruins. They're coming down south. Then we have another 1-3 split. Just making sure that they have control of the entire western area. They knew the east was super busy. They knew they had this area to themselves. Once that zone shifts, they regroup and they go on their next move. I would have loved to see them maybe go to the north, but the way they played it, another 1-3 split, just keeping that control, especially as Falcons push everybody out of that eastern side into the west. Goat were able to just kind of play cleanup a little bit more there, and it was just a really, really good game of like actually Falcons and Goat working together, of Falcons just spreading up on that hillside, able to just clear everybody, push everybody to the west, and then Goat going, thank you very much for those points, and just able to go from there.
I'm really happy you bring up especially the 2-2 split of Falcons going back in a full regroup in the warehouses northwest of Pmgc, because this has been an issue that's been plaguing Falcons, I would say, for a majority of 2025 so far, is they go for early rotations, and upon that early rotation, lose players, and then they're down to a 3, maybe even a 2-man in the worst case scenarios. And your chances of a win just go down significantly after those early casualties happen. But no, I think that here, playing it very passive, Hot Jukes, avoiding any early game skirmishes is what we need to see more coming out from Falcons. And in this game in particular, it was super, super worthwhile for them to do that. So hopefully they can keep that trend moving forward in their next matches on Miramar.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go, especially for Falcons, considering where they're at there on the leaderboards, because, you know, you want to be able to put up those consistent points. You got a little bit of a gap right now from that bottom 5. I mean, we could see them pop off, but, you know, the teams that are currently in the bottom 5 have been pretty quiet so far. So I think you put up those points, and then when you get that zone, you got to go crazy, you know? So I want to see Falcons play conservative, Max, but at the same time, the second that opportunity opens up for them, they got to start going crazy. And yeah, you can see that point gap from them. That's 11 points. That's a little bit of breathing room here for the rest of the day, Max.
Actually, this is really good for Falcons. They create a little bit of a bumper for themselves. They had 34 points previous game, and Chamber had 37, and now Chamber only get 1 point, but Falcons have 49. They're looking comfortable. They could afford to maybe have one average game and still be outside of the bottom 5, but of course, you want to see a little bit of momentum being built up, and they're looking at the top of the rankings. Here we go. New second place team here, Niptura, and not only that, APG have been slipping. Are we going to have a new first place team after these 2 Miramars? I think that's a very high likelihood of happening.
It is, but honestly, the way that APG were playing in that last game specifically, I think they were just playing it very methodical. Yes, it was an edge play because, you know, that zone just really messed up a lot of players. But I think that going into Miramar, where everybody has a little bit more space, a little bit more of that room to kind of control, I think actually APG are going to come back and do some cool stuff in Miramar. Maybe just keep ahead of the current a little bit here. I just want to point out, GG Narvalo, we're finally seeing him at the top of the fraggers. We know he can frag out. He's just been struggling, and it's nice to see him back on top here.
Hodrix, I'm sorry, but like we got to play on loops. If it's in, congrats. Where's Ratto Boy? Where's Ratto Boy?
That's right.
Where is he?
Face barely this entire broadcast. Come on, pop off just one game. I want to see him on one of these graphics. It's about time.
Man, make it happen, man. We had that locked and loaded, right? We want to be able to scream that shout from Ratto Boy, right? Let's see if he can finally make it happen. Right now, Loop's currently sitting in 9th place, right? 58 points on the board. You know, honestly, this is what starts to scare me. Where we hit this point in the tournament is we're starting to see some point gaps happen, right? We already see a little baby one between 3rd and 4th place of 9 points, so that's not too crazy. But then you go down to 7th and 8th here in Neptura, right? Papada Supermassive have 71, Wolves have 58. Okay, so right now I think it's really important. If your team wants to make it to the grand finals, Wolves, Loops, 9Z, especially 9Z, come on, what happened here today? They gotta pop off right here, right now in Miramar.
No, they absolutely do. I think it's the real talking point here is going to be between the 8th and 11th place. That storyline, those teams are 100% what needs to change now in the next 2 games. 7th and above, they have time. They're doing well enough that tomorrow they're good for tomorrow. They can have an easier couple of games. 12th and below, they've got to work these 2 games and tomorrow as well. But it's going to be so crucial this next game in particular between 8th and 11th. Wolves, Loops, 9Z, and Falcons. They need to step up in these next 2 games in these Miramars, or we're going to be seeing potentially the end of the road for them.
You're talking about Miramar. I'm going to be heavily paying attention to GOAT Team and Gen G because, of course, they're the 2 teams that won yesterday's 2 Miramars, right? Gen G won the second one, the first one taken home by GOAT, and so far GOAT has been having a stellar performance in these 2 days. If they can back it up by another good one, I'm telling you, APG might just slip out for the first time out of first position, which would be a crazy storyline, a crazy setup to have going into maybe day 3 here for Group Green. But I don't know what to expect anymore. I feel like we are seeing some teams that are stepping up to the plate, Hot Jukes. There's still that big comeback opportunity. And going into day 3, I think so many teams are going to be close to those podium positions that it's going to be looking completely different by the time we wrap up this entire group stage.
Oh, for sure. That's a fact. You know, with APG, you know, they had 90 points after day 1, right? Now with 4 games so far, 103. That means they've only done 13 points so far today. That day 1 performance has really carried them, but man, they have let it slip big time here in day number 2. So teams are definitely catching up to them. I'm gonna say that lead is gonna get blown if they don't perform right here now. I think that they've exhausted all their bad games to like really be comfortable, Max Man. So if they put up less than 5 points, I think we're going to see a new leader. I think it's totally possible.
I think so. I mean, you asked us yesterday, right, Hot Jukes, how many bad games can you realistically have to still be competing for top 3? I said one bad day, and I feel like they've had that bad day. As you said, they've exhausted that bad performance kind of threshold, and right now, if they go anything over that, they're going to be caught back up to. So here, Niptra, I'm looking at the teams below them. Go Ultra, go Gen.G. They're looking to have a big performance to wrap up day 2.
They are, because also remember, APG tend to be a day 3 team. If you have a 3-day stage tournament, whatever, we're usually very quiet on day 1, day 2, come out big like a day 1, but on day 3. So if they have a quiet day, they're looking to come back tomorrow. So the teams right below them, they got to be sure that they're going to be safe tomorrow.
Well, we had a whole bunch of fun in the grassy lands of Erangel. It's time to heat things up in the dry sands of Miramar. Let's take it on over to our 5th match of the day with our casters, Blank and John Allen. Let's go.
And it's time for Miramar. Of course it is. We're towards the end of the day now. Match number 11, all the ones aboard. And we will be heading from Impala over to Valle de Mar. Teams needing now the points to stay out of that bottom zone. It is starting to get ever more looming as time draws inexorably onwards. And I, for one, can't wait to see who we're going to be seeing move into those top 3. I'm less keen to see who we're going to be having to say goodbye to, though. That will, of course, be a sad occasion.
And this is also a sad occasion on this playing path. Very tough to work with. I feel like we had a lot of very southern playing paths recently. You hardly see too many playing paths over towards La Caballeria, Campo Militar, mainly down towards Valle de Mar, Minas del Valle. It's just awkward. It's unfun to try and get out there. A lot of teams aren't dropping down towards Minas del Sur and Partona, but there is plenty of spots on the north side you could drop towards. We do have a shared drop spot here between Tiamba as well as I believe that's Gen.G in Puerto Paraíso, which is fair enough. You don't really have too many choices here. Chumacera looks like loops are quite close by, but APG getting to drop in their original position is always fine.
Circle goes up to the east side here, towards El Azahar, towards Truck Stop, Minas Generalis, that sort of area of the map. Sticks a little bit close to the east coast for probably several of our teams' liking. But for GS, that's good news. For Papra Supermassive, maybe in for a big one, but it's far too early to really call that. Can't really call the shot just yet. Trombi holding his corner actually spots Xerus from Team Secret, who's on a bit of a wide split from the rest of the team. But then again, so's Trombi. He's a bit far away from them too.
But again, it's fairly central. It's not too bad for them. I think they can get over towards Truck Stop, even South El Azahar, get a good game off the back of that. Team Secret needs to get a move on, but honestly, I think for Team Secret, it might be over. I think we can start to look at tendencies now as we head towards match 11 now. I think for Team Secret, there just has not been enough life in them. And starting to feel a little bit more clear to me this team is not going to make it through.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. You know, one of the major contenders for not getting into the top 11, which is where you need to at least continue in the tournament, even if you're not qualifying directly to the grand finals. Team Secret convincingly short of the mark right now in 18 points, with a bubble for 11 sits at 49. 18 points over 11 matches, that's like 1.5 points average, maybe a little bit more than that. It's definitely not going to be enough for them to be jumping on in. They need a real big readjustment. Xerus readjusting, getting out of there, smell something's up. The rest of Papra Supermassive have rolled in, so he wants to try and turn tail as fast as possible. Stay alive as long as possible. Kamikaze, try to change that though. Maybe able to connect. Does tag one shot, but with the iron sights, it's a little bit tricky at that range.
It's still pretty successful QVZ on the iron sights. We're one of the more difficult weapons to aim as well with the iron sights. Never mind, Nico's able to find it.
All right, well, there we go. We did catch up with another one of our teams who has been struggling a little bit. Regiocio will be up for interview. 7 caught up with him just before this game. Don't worry, he is still playing. But Reject have had a tough time. Let's hear about their thoughts about the unfolding actions.
Welcome back to a quick report with the 7WG. I'm joined by Reject, by Regiocio. Max wants to know why you're so bad, but I'm not going to be asking you that. What I really want to know is you're currently 24 points away from 11th place. What is the mentality moving forward?
今11位から24点も離れていますが、今の気持ちをお聞かせてください。
チームのローテーションがうまくいってないのは初めての感覚なのですごく難しい感じです。
As the first feeling, as the first situation that the team rotation is not going well. So, yeah, we're impressed by ours.
Okay, now moving forward, we usually see teams wait until the last day to just play crazy. Are you going to be starting to play crazy now because of how close you are to being sent home?
今からもうぶち上げていきますか。
自分たちでコントロールするのは難しいので、ちょっと運が良くなればいいなとは思います。
It's hard to control, like it's hard to control, so like we just hope to get a good luck. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm hoping it's not just going to be luck. I'm hoping it's also going to be you guys wanting that win, wanting to get the LMs, because we want to see you in the finals. At this point, we want to see you in last chance. Thank you so much for your time. Arigato. Arigato. Back to you guys.
There we go. I mean, yeah, I can kind of smell the dejection a little bit coming off of Regiosio there. Hopefully he can pick up his spirits over the course of these games. But it's not looking good for them either. Similar story to Team Secret. It's just not been there.
I think it's quite clear that the rotations aren't great. Most of the times that they're pushing in, it's towards areas of the map that just aren't really all that valuable either to them. And they're worried about picking off pretty strong positions. I think times you've actually seen Reject being inside a powerful compound or a key part of the map towards zone 2 or zone 3 has been very rare. They're right now, it's sad to say, but they're currently playing like a team that's aiming for bottom 5, which isn't ideal, right? I know that Regiosio can play better than this. I know Sarah can play better than this. Divine's had some of the best clutch moments in the past. He was a monster back on Sandhawk when that was in the rotation. So yeah, this just isn't the way to do it.
No, it's definitely something needs to change. Some adjustment needs to be made. Figure out just what's going on. After having Sarah have so much experience on the global stage with other teams, you'd have thought maybe he could bring some of that intel back, but just hasn't quite been there. Inner Circle, though, I feel like they've been impressive in some situations, but other times they act like a completely different team, right? You've got Falak, who is obviously an incredible player. He's brought so much to the table already and shown off so much, but other times you just see Inner Circle and it's just not there. It's a completely different team. They're susceptible to mistakes that you just don't expect at this level.
I think if we're in a circle, there's actually oh, goodness me. Okay. Goodbye, I suppose. There is a case to be made for Inner Circle where some of the fights they're getting into, they are getting caught off guard a little bit, where they're fighting one or two teams. I think that they are aggressively searching for position inside the lobby, and it's not been quite working out. Satan able to rebuff Snape, close the door in his face as well. Yeah, quick underneath, but isolated.
Satan on the top floor does go down to Rosemary. Now it's all just quick. Blast the door off his hinges, but what have you unleashed? You opened a can of worms there. They're going to wriggle their way on over to you. Quick already taking the challenge, but Rosemary, no match for him. Not this time around. A nade in. That should bounce on. No. He just gets around the corner. Just enough cover there to stay alive for a little bit longer. Rosemary can res. Ooh, is this Alter Ego falling like dominoes? No. They'll keep themselves nice and tall, but oh my goodness me. I heard that chuckle from you, Blank, and I think I know why. That circle pop down to the southeast side. Ooh, it's sending chills.
No, I've got a D+ in the lobby as well on the eastern side, getting ready to put their swimming goggles on. They head towards Eastern Island. I'm praying. I am praying. I'd love to see it right here, very early in the tournament. Better than the last game of the tournament, that is. But so far, it would be a very, very curious finish to the game. I would love to see an East Island finish. Good shot from Goat, who are continuing to pop off in terms of performance here. Really nicely done. I'm actually curious to know how many points on the day they've had, because it's a big step up from them. Like I said, with Gen G, IC chasing, yeah, there's not a massive possibility that APG drops out, but there is a possibility now. They've put up, I think the run out is 20 points today-ish. It's not a lot. It really isn't a lot. And if they do that again tomorrow, I think teams who are really hunting, like D+, IC, Alter Ego, GOAT, they could push them out of the top 3 hypothetically.
Sorry, who were you asking how many points earned today? I've got the standings from yesterday evening up. Goat did manage to Goat have managed a pretty hefty total blank. They started the day on 42, I believe, which is pretty massive of a jump, I think it's safe to say. You know, it's not often you see 52 points added to a tally, but you love to see it if you're a GOAT fan. Alter Ego, I think that fight with Gen G was made all the more interesting by the fact that Gen G are chasing Alter Ego on the tables as well. They're trying to establish that boundary, try and maybe find Inner Circle next. Perhaps that's what Alter Ego are looking for.
I think for Indonesia, they must be very proud of this team. The fact they're able to put up 92 points. Oh, see, I'm not massively interested in this fight just because of the way Team Secret's been playing. That sounds very harsh, but I would rather talk about Alter Ego here. But yeah, I think that Indonesian fans must be very proud of this team, and you should be even more so proud by the fact that they're on 92 points, and that's with a lot of mistakes made as well. I think to get 92 and fumble maybe 2 or 3 wins because of bad positioning, it's very impressive. It's very, very impressive.
They can only go up from 92, right? We were talking about where we expect that bubble to be, and if you just look at what happened in the gauntlet stages, the bubble was 141, right? If you just take that number and
come on.
Use that as a benchmark. We're not going out to the East Island blank. I know you wanted it. I know the analyst desk wanted it too, but no. That's just too much. It's not going to happen for us this time around. OG pretty dead center on this one. D+ though, in a solid spot to the north of Impala.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of it's a winning position where D+ is currently playing. I do like that spot as long as you can hold it. We've seen the in fact we saw in fact Nepturo will remember this one, but there's a hella uncomfortable game where Team Spirit was playing this position and just completely gave up the ball. It actually ended up losing them a tournament. But for D+, I think they can comfortably hold this. It's a good spot. If this shifts down towards the south, they have a very good chance of the game. I think the awkward thing comes in around Impala, where when you're rotating, you sort of have to rotate round towards this small ridge side on the western edge, or you play coast, and coast isn't all that comfortable either for GOAT.
No, it's kind of nasty. I mean, with that high ground as well with D+. Sat atop it, that transversal. It's going to be pretty tricky. APG, they're on the road again, blank, but are they going to be able to get more than 13 points today? Only time will tell. They have to stop at a little ridge line. Out into the blue zone. Moving in from the west side, I mean, there is a compound on the west side of this circle that is open, but it's not, I mean, it's not super favorable. Perhaps they're wanting to get up and towards the north side and have more access for later rotations that they'll need. Move up towards loops, towards 9-7 as well.
A lot of teams probably want to be where Paparazzi Supermassive is right now. That area of the map, there's a lot of cover to be worked with. It's super choppy in terms of the terrain, but a lot of times that means you can sort of ladder your way through that area of the map and get a better position later on. Also isolate a lot of fights. I think the difficulty on Miramar in the open area down towards the south side is if you take a fight, it's likely someone else is going to have a say into it. Playing over towards this north side, you can isolate a fight with this sort of terrain, take it, and then move on to your next step afterwards.
Loops. Layering down onto the vehicle as Raptor Boy actually to connect the final spray. I mean, 9-7 are just in this valley, and it's a real fish and barrel situation right now. These Loops are just opening fire, and where'd you go if you're 9-7? There's really not much to do.
I mean, 9Z, you just have to back it off. They have to go for that classic wide ramp. Coligo, who has been a tremendous boon for the team in terms of a player, is locked in. And Rafina has his number. Not likely to be living up too long. Next circle shift will be very interesting. Do we go north side or do we go south? If we go south, D+ is having a much better time. Sort of central here, moves off from the water. D+ still have a lot of this high ground to work with, though. They got up there nice and early. I think they're just going to play that one out to the end. I think that if you have that high ground, yes, they could try and move towards a more central spot, but I think it's more favorable to them right now just to gamble.
Try and pick out a winner into the lotto. 9Z moving in. The knock found, and yeah, it's just going to be one of them left playing behind whatever sort of cover you can find. Open ground on the west side here. You can see around those crop dusters. It's pretty barren in terms of that cover. Alter Ego looking to try and chase down. They're now 1 point behind Goat, who are still alive on the east side, but there's 14 teams and plenty of time for them to fall. We'll see just how far they're able to go. You were talking about that treachery of that coastline earlier, right? And now is really where Goat are going to start to feel that.
You trying to cross over the top of it. D+ has angles towards you. I think for D+ as well, sending Chips out towards that eastern side is a big deal, considering Chips has showed himself to be really strong on the long range angles. At the moment, very accurate with 3x. So Goat definitely needs to be worried about that. But not only that, you also have IC coming in from that north side, playing the same coastal area. That fight is likely going to be a bit of a cage match between Goat as well as Inner Circle going forward. GS, I think, playing in the longhouse aren't going to have too much of a say in, but that will be the next step for both these squads if they want to continue. Now let's come back a little bit towards the bottom of the tables. This is OG's big chance, right? This is OG's big chance to get out from the bomb 5 in this position. They've been in this position a few times before, but I think this is their best attempt at it from this spot on the map. It's unfortunate I don't have a lot of confidence, but it would be nice to see something.
APG sort of caught in the middle. I mean, OG, reject both, trying to take APG's mojo from day one. It seems like someone's draining it. Maybe it's Goat. Seems like they are definitely on the up. But a 6th Elim found for Alter Ego, and they're now up to neck and neck with Goat as APG struggles to take the fights with them. Top immediately backing off that fight as soon as he takes damage there. Loops have the high ground over it as well. I don't think all of the APG players are getting out this spot. With Papa Supermassive ahead of them, they are very much locked in here.
Alpha Gaming, again, it's a situation where they need to be really cautious on this sport. It's just not favorable terrain to play. Be very careful of which fights you take and which fights you don't. Don't really know what Wolves' plan was there, to wrap around the front side, get ahead of Loops, then take shots. And it's a good shot from Igor, at least. Another nice nade over towards Nilzada.
And we'll look to connect with the rest of it. The Bucky run down from Coops. A little bit risky there, as Rafinha is still up and an action could still extract a toll, but Coops is folding back on in. Taking shots out the way for Doran, and the Wolves keep themselves alive as 3. They have lost Baton, but they do a lot of damage to Loops. And that might actually allow APG to find a way out, to get through this seemingly an insurmountable roadblock. They have to play over the head of Rafinha, though, and that is going to be a bit difficult against Wolves.
I don't think it's happening. I think Alter Ego's got some really good sidelines onto this. Also, I really like the Alter Ego's currently massively committing to their 2-2 splits. When I say that, I don't mean as in towards the late game, but it's the fact that they are being very cautious. When one peaks, it's only the one, and the other looks to refrag and or cover the angle so the other player can crawl away. So they're being very safe about it at this point in time. I do like the splits. Don't get me wrong. I do like the splits that Alter Ego is making, and they are very successful at times. But I also appreciate now they're being a little bit more careful with how and where they play them. And it's been very useful for them to soften up this northern side. I think they still need to be a little bit worried about Papra Supermassive position just off towards their eastern side, because that is going to be the big roadblock for them in the future.
It is going to be a real difficult hurdle to cross. Go actually clashing on the sidelines here, and we'll find the fight with Inner Circle. Again, another team closer to the boundary of third place than most, but Go and Alter Ego, well, Alter Ego already took down Gen G. Now it's Goat's turn to defend their podium. They've already dropped that smoke out as well, out wide, and it's unlikely that Inner Circle could go for this flush, given they only have one player standing. He's on half HP. And I think this nades even potentially from GS going to be coming on in soon. Noki really can't stand up here.
Yeah, Inner Circle's performance has really taken a downward trend today. It's still not bad at 77 points right now. Noki not able to pull out a clutch either, sadly. And GS slowly move on the point. I think that's a smart move from GS, and more confidence and courage we've seen from GS like all tournament, basically. Alter Ego, fair bit of damage over towards Rosemary.
Ooh, Snape and Rosemary both taking the shots over towards Kamikaze, and that's actually Papra Supermassive losing. Oh, they just lost one. Okay, it was APG that went down there, as well as actually the last player going down from Inner Circle. Goat did manage to get the res and the heal, but now Alter Ego will look at a move over towards Papra Supermassive without one of their players, without Kamikaze especially. This is go time. Alter Ego up to 9 elims. They want to add 4 more, but Krypton goes down for the first. Alva around the side can't get the refrag there. It's Snape who does it, and Alva now moving on in. 2 players swept aside from Papra Supermassive, and they've made their inroad. Krypton outside, look at that, on the oversight, still up on the hill.
Not anymore. Reject finds that Apollo with a long-winded run out off towards the western side, able to catch him. And that is an important off angle there for Alter Ego, now removed. So it is just the 3v2 now, but initial knock goes through from Snape. Really, really well done. Now looks to make his final stand and just rock straight up. What? And we'll find it. Nico with almost the 1v4 there. What an incredible push from him. A Hail Mary in the darkest hour.
A guiding light of Nico for Papra Supermassive. We've been talking a lot about Kamikaze, but there are 4 players on this roster. What a close down there. A 1v3 on the inside.
Just ridiculous maneuvers coming through from Papra Supermassive.
Papra Supermassive to be able to point against Alter Ego as well. No pushover over team. They're feeling hot today, and it's just, I mean, that was absolutely incredible that he was able to get that push across, play chaos in the smoke, the shotgun shells just landing time and time again. Helped out a little bit by Apollo on that reject knock, and reject look for more against Tiamba as well. Reject, they do also have an opportunity here. You talked about OG before, but I think this is potentially also Reject's time to try and make the most of it. Unfortunately, though, they are getting cut out of the circle in the next.
Yeah, it's an outside angle. It's a tough approach as well for all the teams on the south side. I'm not too mad at D+ at all for holding this position. Nice nade. I'm not mad at all at D+ for holding this position. You have to gamble on that high ground if you hold it. Sadly, the circle doesn't come their way. So the best they can do is continue to use this high ground to clear out position around them, which is what they are currently doing, and then push off from there and swing out to where OG is currently playing at. OG remain quite silent, but again, for them, a chicken dinner means quite a lot to them. They also get gifted a loot crate. So now's the time.
Ooh, Apollo nearly finding Milo there. Repositions, wants a little bit better of an angle, but the bead is sent out his way as well. Shots upwards coming through from QZ, but where do you turn right now? Apollo is more of a threat than an actual shutdown presence. That's going to keep Tiamba penned in towards the fight. Nico, let's see what more he's got in the pocket. I mean, it's up to Igor to take him down. Can he find the challenge? Not successfully for the first. The shotgun is still there. Sprays it into the dirt behind Nico. Doesn't quite connect on that one. just yet. There's the nade over the top, forces Igor out wide, and that's the shutdown he was looking for. Nico will go no further.
Yeah, it's a great answer. You hear the pin pull, you part the Molotov, you force the reposition. Really, really smartly played. OG taking shots from the sidelines now, getting a little bit more involved in these fights.
Rejects have lost 3 of their players very, very quickly. OG, you're right, flexing out down towards these hilltops, towards this mountain. Next circle coming through as well. They're clearing out their flanks, and another team is fallen now. It's just Sarah on that side. OG can stay in their building, stay on their 2-2. There's not too much threat from their west side. They can keep this lineup going. Sarah goes down, and again, that's even safer for OG on this southwest edge. Can they keep this one rolling?
Yeah, this is the big moment for them, right? This is their big moment. They have a that they're right on the edge, and probably the next circle is going to out. They have to hope for a western shift on this one if they want to stay alive. There's still wolves over towards that north side, GS as well, but D+ is laying in the hurt towards them.
Plenty of damage pouring out from the south, but D+ are going to have to move now, Blank. With the circle as it is, it's closing away from them, and they have to choose a target. Favian will likely stay up here for as long as he can to try and open that path, to keep that scouting going their way. And that information flow, very, very important when you make these sorts of moves. Favian takes a lot of damage and might actually just be fully isolated here. D+ are making the move now. Down the hill they go towards the last player of Falcons, Ralph. Not stepping up just yet, has this pump action rather behind the vehicle burnout. I will stay quiet. D+ probably don't know about this. Fabian, I don't think he spotted this. Chips is completely unaware. Falcon could be a big entity in this fight. D+ in danger, and they don't even know it.
Did you see the burnout vehicle? Surely you check that. Seems a bit of an oversight here from D+, honestly. I do think the Falcons more than likely just going to sit this one out and not take shots because GS don't have angles on this. D+ can immediately turn. Maybe when this happens, though.
Ooh, those players down on the hillside look mighty tasty as points earnings potential for Falcons, but no, it's discipline. He's staying down, he's staying quiet. GS try and sally forth, but they get backed off. A D+ drag 2 points from them. One more player over the ridgeline, and GS might just be done and dusted. A nade up high, goes long, but he's forced forwards. I think they spotted that one. Chips looking to put that final nade in the cook. Oh, again, just a little bit too long.
See, this is a problem right now for OG. They need to start flexing. They need to start flexing now. Playing over towards this western side is just not going to cut the cookie for them.
That pickup though onto Fabian is huge for Ralph.
Out.
GS, his final moments, actually was able to take down Fabian, and they're not going to go back up for him. They can't. They don't have the time. That sightline's gone, and Ralph, I mean, he's still unknown here, Blank.
Should be able to find this for Wolves. Fabian, he's done for. He knows he's done for. Just got the P90 as well, which is sort of unfortunate for him. But will go down. And here's Wolves looking to clean out the rest of the lobby. I think for OG right now, the only I can think that they're not flexing from this position is that they're just looking to pick up the stragglers, get a very low elim, get.
Oh, you gotta do it.
Pick up the chicken dinner.
Oh, surely he looks back out this way at some point. Oh, Ursel back behind the vehicle, looking for the laydown. Ralph is being so patient here. The question is it the right decision? And that's the nade from Doran. Oh my goodness me. Maybe placements coming on through. There's another player from D+ moves against Ralph. I mean, they don't know about him, but he's actually not that dangerous, it seems. Nolbu's still stepping up. There's a spray down onto Wolves. Nolbu's so low, and Wolves low as well. This is the time, surely, for Ralph to step up. He's going to go for the spray down, and he shuts out D+, looks for the points, and now the Falcons need to come up big. They're up into third place, but OG have spotted them, and this is the time for OG to make the most of it. They only have one player from Wolves alive. It's Coops to deal with. But they haven't got that many points, Blank. They've got 6 elims, sure, but a 7 elim chicken dinner, that's fairly low. A win's a win, though, and you will take it. It's Coops who managed to get the res. Dying out into the blue zone. They're denying here, Blank. They don't want any more points on the OG tally. Wolves deny, and OG will rise from the compound. A low elim game, but it's a win.
It is a win. They get a lot of circle look there. stay towards one building, flex out towards the end diver. Like you say, it's a low elim game, but it is a chicken dinner. It is a chicken dinner. And like I said, this was their big chance to grab it. It was a strong position that they played for the longest of time. That should draw them out of the bottom 5, though. That's really all that matters, right?
I mean, that's the main game for them at the moment. You're right. Wolves, I mean, they took a solid fight. They took an interesting engagement. I do still question, though, if Ralph could have got more value by stepping up and taking some of those elims earlier on, right? He only had 2 for a long time. If you take 2 elims there, maybe, I think he profited, what, like 3 or 4 points off of that? I think it's a coin toss. I'm not sure. But either way, OG rises to the top. Take a chicken dinner, finally.
Team OG finally get a chicken dinner here in the group. Team India finally put their mark on the board here. We're really behind here. It's definitely going to be a good boost for them, but you can see on the reaction of their face, a lot more work to do here, Max.
Yeah, and lucky for them, no crashes on their compact position pretty much for free the entirety of this game. Good to see here an attempt at claiming control, at claiming pushing out of the compound, while D plus Kia, Ralph of Falcons that was still alive for some reason, and also Wolves engaging that fight. The elimination feed lights up. They're like, that's the prime time, and we were screaming it. Please, Orangutan, do, and they did. The timing was, and you can see it. Actually, there's no way. That's all the damage they took this game. Only 67 damage for the entire team. Goes to show again, they were not tested until literally the last 30 seconds.
Well, exactly. And you know what? Especially on that north side, those ridges provide cover that you're able to just actually move up, take a little control without being seen too much. So a real for OG to take as well. But you're totally right. It was a very given it's the zone, the rather the house, the compound.
Yeah.
Did a really, keeping them safe and keeping covered, and everybody was just more worried about rejects and D plus Kia in the north and the east. But overall, some really good stuff for these teams, and OG able to use the timing appropriately, push through, and actually get what they needed in the time that they needed it, right? So often we've seen them kind of too late, too early, not do anything at all. So it's nice to actually see them do something here.
Yeah, good to see at least some cheeky third parties from a distance trying to snatch a few eliminations here and there, so they were definitely trying to stay in the conversation. By the way, we've seen Alter Ego here. They got clutched up disgustingly, like, bad. I don't know. It was a bad time.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. Looking back at this one, it was fighting against a player of Nico, Supermassive Blaze, were involved in that fight. And that was a great clutch that we're going to be seeing happen normally in just a few seconds in these highlights. But Ratoboy finally involved in a conversation.
Let's
and
go.
then Wolves just literally do the worst. This engagement around the ridgeline, Hot Jukes, I don't know what happened there, but that was not the right call.
Oh, it made me sick. I'm not gonna lie. I saw Igor and Baton do like this car rotation, and it just the first thing the guys are just doing too much here, right? If they would have just played together as a group, they would have still taken out loops. They would have had all 4 players up towards the end, and it's just those little tiny mistakes that are gonna punish you big time. But you know what? You sometimes you make mistakes, sometimes you're blessed. And for me, looking on the other end, right, for OG, look at their reactions when they won this one. This game was a gift for them. How you utilize that gift is what's going to come into here. But like, before we go to more, let's take a look just exactly how their rotations were for this one. Nepture,
Island finish. Sorry.
And I was muted that whole time. I love this for me.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice thing for them to see here, because group this 1-1-1 on the western side, then to the 2 split. They did get taken initially, but I did like that coming in for them. Wolves as well, finally able to take some control on the north. Again, using their advantage, able to win the 1v1s, not really, but still to do some zone, which is what I always want.
Yeah, really good terrain knowledge from Wolves. I was really happy the way they were transitioning. The pushes themselves, I'm a little bit, I'm uncertain how they were executed. A little bit topsy-turvy from them, but definitely the terrain knowledge was on point from me. Earlier today where they lose players upon rotation, but that trigger discipline, Hot Jukes, was so clutch there to just overwhelm D+ at the right time and extra placement points. I thought he was taking too long, but you know what? That timing, perfect.
It was as perfect as could be. I mean, that's why he's the pro, right? He knows exactly how long you should wait there, and he was able to take out D+ Kia and also sneak one of those points away from the Wolves right there. ACOP ends up on top here for this, the MVP for this match for 2 eliminations. I want to be transparent for the way I look and see this team, right? It's so different. This is their first time, right, playing in the group stage at this level, okay? You know, they get this chicken dinner here and now. Just to have the hurdle of getting a win is so difficult. I can't stress it enough. They finally broken it, right? It was a gift game, but the thing is that I hope it really just pushes their confidence to another level here, because you can even see towards the end of that fight, they were in a 4v2 situation and they still played it very carefully, right? They were hesitant rather than just like, oh, let's go and get these last 2 eliminations, and that allowed Wolves to deny the point here, Max. You can see them, they're in 12th place now, right? So there is 9-point difference between them and the Falcons. So they could definitely push and survive a little bit longer in this tournament, but they're going to definitely need to shut down these games here, and especially this last one for the day.
Yeah, Orangutan got to be careful here. You still need to be able to get follow-up performances off the back of that win. Otherwise, you're still going to remain in that bottom 5. That is going to be their main focal point for day number 3. They're looking at the top of the rankings. Genji dropping down in a circle. Unfortunately, been dropping down quite a bit throughout the entirety of today. And then Alter Ego claiming second place once more, Niptro. They finally back where they belong. Second place is good to see. About to break that 3 digits point threshold here. Catching up to APG. They are still slipping, not getting too many points.
Just mention here real quick is in match 2 of today, D+ Kia were in 9th place, 44 points, right? Now look at them, 82 points, 4th place, just tickling the top 3 a little bit there. Not much farther for them to go. If they can have another really good game here in the last day of today, or the last game of today rather, they're looking really good for a top 3 finish tomorrow.
What a comeback.
Totally possible. Yeah, I mean, I love point sponge is going to come in big time. Gaps are going to be made, and it's going to make things real hard. Top 4 solo performers, of course, is Ralph, right? With his sneakiness towards the end. Very well played. You know, one team I do want to mention, though, right, as we see them in that 2nd place position, Reyes and 9Z, right? He got 5 solo points in this game. So far on the day, they've only put up 15 points, Max, man. What happened to this squad?
Unfortunately, since the first 2 games of day 1, not much has been happening for them. They just are struggling to survive the early stages as a squad, as a full team. Here, they got stuck on that transition from early to mid game. Reyes, really good for him, but the thing is, it's cool when you see a solo being able to redeem points. So like Reyes, when Willis teammates were eliminated, he got 5 points, which, no, great. Congrats to him and Raul, for example. But is that really what's going to qualify you in top 3? If it was Gorley and you needed to be top 7, then maybe you'd have a chance. But no, here you need to be at the top of the leaderboards, and this is just not going to cut it. Reyes is a top-tier player from the Americas region. If you don't have backup, unfortunately, there's only so much you can really achieve in these games.
You know, one thing I'd really love to see from both 9Z and Falcons, actually, is maybe just a little bit more scouting on those initial rotations, because I think what we're seeing here is they're getting picked off one by one as they make those rotations in the early game. And I want to say that's because there's just not enough information going out to them. They're not picking up enough info on where teams are, what teams are doing. And if teams suddenly switch up a rotation or rotate slightly differently, then that means these teams are getting just taken out really early. And I don't think they're taking advantage of their players to actually go ahead and scout just a little bit more.
I'm actually looking back at this game on the map feed. a team I was a little bit disappointed with this game was going to be Goat Team. Goat Team. Looking back at their position, they had a very clear path to success this game. Or you send it north onto Wolves, or you try and crash onto GS Team. And they got so hesitant right now, where they just tried to find a free position in circle with it. At some point, all the good spots are taken. And here they try and put themselves and slot their position between GS Team and D+, and they just get completely sandwiched between those two teams. I want to see Go understand sometimes you just got to go for those Hail Mary plays, go for a crash, because eventually if you play passive, other teams are going to abuse the hell out of you and just get easy points in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like as well, you know, I could see what they were trying to go for. They're trying to go underneath those cliffs with D plus Kia on top of them. Then they're probably not going to get shot at all. They're probably fairly safe, but it just was not the case in this circle. There was just too many players, too many angles on all sides. And so, yeah, it was not the way to go for a passive play. I think an aggro would have been much better. And honestly, same to say for Inner Circle. Where have they been? I mean, we've seen them have huge eliminations first day, been very quiet today. I would just love to see them on the same time, maybe have been more aggressive onto Goat. We saw them splitting on that eastern side onto the beach area. I would have loved to see them maybe be a bit more aggressive against Goat, a bit more aggressive against GS, for instance, and then just create an opening for themselves in those final circles.
Well, for Inner Circle, actually, they had 62 points after day one. So far today, if my math is correct, they've only got 15 points. So, yeah, fair to say, Hot Jukes, it's not great. It's not going to be
same performance as 9Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really tough. And this is the thing is that we're seeing these top three get crazy. You got Goat currently in that third place spot, that golden ticket with 95 points. That's a 13-point lead over D plus Kia. Quick, I want this one fast. Which team needs this chicken dinner the most, Neptura? Last game of the day.
Last game of the day, I'm going to say Falcons.
Oh, okay. Max?
Ooh. I'm going to go Reject. We saw a little bit more presence from them in this game of Miramar, so I want to see a follow-up with an actual Reject Japanese win.
So I'm going to go with the same, because if they don't get it right here and right now, I don't think they're going to make it into the last stand stage. Blake, John Allen, who do you think needs to win this last game of Miramar?
Who do I think needs to win? Ooh, well, I think first of all, need, I think, is a strong word. But, I mean, if you want to talk about need, right, it's Team Secret or Reject. If they want any chance of anything happening in terms of their standings. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Honestly, the team I think needs a chicken dinner here is APG to revitalize themselves.
They do absolutely need that, because it has been a bit stagnant from APG over to date. Would love to see a little bit more coming out from this team. So far, it's been a little bit lackluster. And like we keep saying, you know, the teams are absolutely gun all those top three spots. A freebie into the finals is what a lot of teams would like right now. Going through to the last chance.